Hyundai has been on somewhat of a roll of late, bringing high-value, low-cost models to market which really do appeal to a broad spectrum of buyers. Now it's aiming to do this yet again with this brand new i20, which, as well as a larger platform and greater amounts of standard equipment, features mild hybrid technology. So is this i20 yet another low-cost yet high-value option from Hyundai? We've come to the firm's latest headquarters in Leatherhead to find out. The i20 features a truly radical design, particularly compared against the older car. The headlights are a standout feature, while the lights around the rear are just as striking. The entire aesthetic of the car brings a real sense of presence to the i20, despite its reasonably compact proportions. The interior of the i20 is quite dramatically different to the one found in the car it replaces. It's an overall far more upmarket experience, and that's because you've got so many more screens in here than ever before. Now, the full virtual display ahead of you actually comes standard across the i20 range, so this isn't just a high specification system. You do also get a large infotainment system, which in higher spec cars is around 10.25 inches, and in low spec cars is just over 8 inches. So whichever spec you go for, you are getting quite a good infotainment offering. You also get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto included as standard. Elsewhere, things are good. There are some scratchy plastics here and there, but overall, the perception of quality is very, very good and quite upmarket too. It's a really nice place to be. Despite its compact size, the i20 features a generous 352 litres of boot space, which can be extended to 1,165 litres simply by folding the rear seats down. Now for comparison, the Volkswagen Polo brings 351 litres with the seats in place and 1,125 litres with them down. So key to the i20's makeup is its new 1 litre turbocharged petrol engine, which features mild hybrid technology. Now that is a 48 volt system which can help add a little bit of boost and acceleration and brings down the amount of fuel that it uses, as well as lowering CO2 emissions. In practice, it's quite a flexible engine and it feels quite grown up actually, especially linked to this 6-speed gearbox. It's just as happy pootling around town as it is helping the i20 to cruise along at motorway speeds. If you are looking for a car that does manage those longer journeys without bringing with it a much larger body style, then this really is quite a good option. The ride on this model in particular is a little bit on the firm side, but this is a trend that we've been seeing across the board. You could option slightly smaller wheels and that probably would help the problem. When it comes to refinement, the i20 does very well indeed. There's not too much wind noise when you're travelling at speed, and even though there is a small amount of road noise when you're just going down ordinary roads, it's not any more than we'd expect from a car of this type. All of the controls are light and easy to use. The clutch pedal is really light, and that's the same case for the gearbox. And though that is quite simple in its action, it's quite precise and it feels nicely mechanical, and it's actually far better than you'd expect from a car of this type in this price bracket. Visibility is excellent as well. The front pillars are nice and slim, the wing mirrors are quite large, and your view over your shoulder isn't impeded by pillars which are too large either. It really is a car which is geared up impressively well to living in urban environments, but it's one that also has the ability to take on those longer journeys without putting too much backache into it. Hyundai has also been really nailing it recently when it comes to steering feel, and that is the case again with this i20. It's beautifully weighted, and it means you've got plenty of confidence in where you're placing the car. This is apparent both around town, like where we are driving today, and out on country roads too. It gives the car a slightly more sporty edge without forsaking that ability to drive it every day with ease. The only thing we would say about this engine is that at times it feels ever so slightly lethargic. You need to rush it through those initial gears in order to make steady forward progress, and often you can feel a little bit lost. You can find yourself sitting in fourth when in reality you need to be in sixth. And likewise when you're going back down the gears. It's not necessarily a large criticism, it's just something that might take getting used to if you're going to be opting for your own i20. It's just a car which feels far more grown up than its exterior dimensions would lead you to believe. At times when you look at the i20, it feels like it could be a first car or a car for someone who is just starting out on the road. But realistically, this is a vehicle that could be used by families and by couples too who want just a little bit more space, but without getting too much in the way of additional fuel costs or additional insurance costs too. That 48-volt system doesn't impede on the overall driving experience either. It's not like a traditional hybrid in the sense that you can tell that assistance is there. This system really doesn't make its presence known, and it's just there to give a little added edge to the fuel consumption figures that the i20 produces. It's a clever way of helping the efficiency levels of a car without having too much of a dramatic impact on the way it drives. It really is around town where the i20 feels most at home though, and that's because of its compact proportions and nimble steering, which combine to make it really quite adept at nipping through traffic or dealing with small mini roundabouts. One thing we would say is definitely to go for a smaller wheel size, as this would just help take the edge off this car's ride, which has a slight frostiness to the top of it, which means that it does crash through larger potholes or struggle with rougher surfaces on the roads in the UK, which we do have a lot, don't we? There is, with the i20, only one engine choice, and it is this 1 litre turbocharged unit, but to be honest with you, that does make things a lot easier when it comes to buying one. And the good news is as well, it's quite a rounded engine, it's efficient, it's punchy enough for a car of this type, and it certainly doesn't feel underpowered when it comes to joining the motorway or nipping in between gaps in traffic. It's the perfect fit, in truth, and that mild hybrid technology means that it's just ever so slightly more efficient than the one that it replaces too. Hyundai has radically revamped the i20 formula. Yes, it's still a relatively small car, but it's bigger inside than before, and it's better to drive and even more packed with standard equipment. This really is a small car which feels like a much larger proposition. In short, if you're looking for a car which isn't going to break the bank but is going to suit a variety of different needs, then the i20 could be it.